You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
Fans, we got a full show for you today. Before we get into it, go ahead and go ahead and subscribe. You know how the algorithm. We need you to like and subscribe. A little NBA talk, a little Formula One talk. Danny, right into the NBA and where, oh boy, the Timberwolves are in trouble. Game 4 was yesterday evening, Danny. It was a great game in terms of the going back and forth, especially in the fourth quarter. Man, Timberwolves just couldn't stop the Thunder from scoring, man.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime the Timberwolves score, I thought, okay, this is going to be their time to go ahead and put up a defensive front. So that way they can go ahead and prevail. But that was not the case, Danny. 128-126. OKC Thunder. They go up now 3-1. MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. He goes close to a triple-double, man. 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. It's over for the Timberwolves, man. Let's just be real. I think this was their last stand. Therefore, that's why this fourth quarter was such a battle going back and forth. The Timberwolves just didn't have it, man. The bench stepped up, though. You got to give kudos to Dante DiVincenzo. Scored 21 points, 5 for 8 from three-point land. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 23 points off the bench. Naz Reid, only 11 points off the bench. But the two that I really want to talk about, Danny, is that in the starters, that being Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, where they combined for 21 points. And, of course, that wasn't going to cut it.
Yep.
But it almost did. The bench stepped up, like I mentioned before. Anthony Edwards only had 2 field goal attempts in the first half. I know that was a big thing. And you have to get credit where credit is due, man. I mean, OKC Thunder's defense, they made a commitment to have 2 people on them, on Anthony Edwards. So what Anthony Edwards would say is he made the right basketball play, right basketball move. But I don't know, man. When you're faced with this and you're at home, I think you have to be a little bit more aggressive. Yes, you can make the right basketball move, but you also have to put the defense, the strong defense. You have to at least kind of make them think a little bit. Danny, have you ever played Sequence? And shout out to the game Sequence. We want an endorsement deal because I'm about to mention you all. Have you ever played Sequence, Danny?
Yes.
Okay, you know with Sequence you have to play both offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you make moves so that way you can get 5 chips in a row. Diagonal, up and down, straight across, whatever. And you prevent your opponent from getting the 5 chips in a row. I think with Anthony Edwards making these quote unquote the right basketball moves, he did not put the defense on defense. And Julius Randle, I just don't know what the hell happened to him, man. 5 points for Julius Randle is not going to cut it. I think this series is over, Danny. What say you about the OKC Thunder prevailing over the Timberwolves 128-126?
Yeah, golden opportunity was missed last night, Jason, with the Timberwolves. And like you mentioned, how their bench played. And Edwards, if you think, I look at it like someone like Jordan, Iverson, like kind of those people that great, all-time greats. I'm not saying that, but you kind of got to impose your will on the game, especially someone in Edwards' position, because at least draw some fouls,
Mm-hmm.
push, push against the OKC Thunder defense, make them make plays because then you're putting more of an imprint on the game, man. And because he can't, 16 points, he needs to be hitting at least 25 or more
At least 25.
every
Yep.
night,
Yep.
no matter what. And
Mm-hmm.
if he's forcing, so be it. But that has to be at least the minimum from him. And Julius Randle, OKC has figured him out
Mm-hmm.
because the way he's been playing in the playoffs, and he's been playing, I think, above his talent level in some games. And OKC has made it where it's made it hard on him, put it like that, where he's been inconsistent. He's had two games like this now in this series
Mm-hmm.
that you can't have from a starter. So and then on the OKC side, man, Jalen Williams,
Mm-hmm.
SGA, Chet Holmgren, their defense, their bench, Caruso and the guys, they bounced back from that game three. Game three, the Timberwolves could have been outside the gym and shooting it, and they would have made it the way they're shooting that night. So it was a great comeback game for OKC, and now they get an opportunity to close at home. But we'll see what the Timberwolves are made of. If they can come out and at least put up a fight and try to get it back to Minnesota, then they can put some pressure on OKC. But this is a crucial game tomorrow night where win or go home.
And then in watching this game, man, I mean, Shea was just, the mid-range king. Now, one part of his game I cannot stand. It reminds me of Harden back, a couple years during his MVP runs, in where he kind of flops a little bit. He seeks out the contact and
Mm-hmm.
all that. That's the part I just cannot stand. But he has a mid-range game out of this world. I mean, there were a few times where all I did was watch him walk into his sweet spot. I'm like,
Yes.
golly, where's the defense, man? At least knock him off a little bit. I mean, or prevent him from getting to his sweet spots, man. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm watching this game, Danny. This solidified my thought here. One thing we have to realize is the OKC Thunder, the average age is about 26 years old. What this has done is it solidified my thought of the Spurs are getting Giannis. Because in looking even at the OKC Thunder's salary roster here, I mean, they basically have all their players returning, them being 26 years old on average, and then them having a pretty good salary cap or salary structure on the team screams the only team I can see competing with them in the Western Conference. I think Houston Rockets are still too young. OKC Thunder is getting this experience.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs, they have enough, man. They got the draft picks to trade for Giannis, and you keep Castle, Wemby's coming back, Darian Fox. You couple that with Giannis. You got Wemby and Giannis at the 4 and 5. You got a former defensive player of the year, champion, and MVP who has a motor like no other. You got Wemby. You got the Spurs culture. You got Pop in the front office who may provide some coaching assistance from, on the side here and there.
Mm-hmm.
This screams to me with OKC Thunder, what they're doing right now, this screams the chess move to make to combat the OKC Thunder for right now is a Giannis to Spurs type chess move. This is going to be very interesting offseason. It's going to be a very interesting next few weeks.
Yes.
Because to your point, Danny, something's got to happen with the trade before, I think the draft is June 25th or something like that. Something's got to happen before then.
Mm-hmm.
So we got less than a month, close to a month exactly here. But something's going to happen. What say you, Danny, about that?
Jason, I agree, man. I think if we're talking Giannis, anywhere he goes, he's going to be an impact player because he's one of the top five players in the league, right? It's just a matter of fit for him. And the other thing I think with the Spurs to consider too of why they may want to pursue him even further is I haven't heard anything about Wemby yet and his condition. So if with him with the blood clots, a season ending early, and we hope he's having a speedy recovery, but we haven't heard anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be even another reason they want to do it. But on the flip side, we got to look at it from the Bucks perspective. And granted, the Spurs, they have their 2 first-round picks and other picks. But what are you really getting in return? That's what makes it interesting from which team they're going to deal with. And will that 2 pick be enough, or do they want that Dallas pick? Or do they want, because OKC is, but they're not going to do anything like that. But they have this draft cap. The way this deal goes down, there has to be at least 3 teams involved. So OKC could play in this because they have picks and get something else depending on how the rest of the season ends up. Because if they fall short, they may want to add another piece as well. Not saying it's Giannis, but they could get something in return too. I don't like to rush time. I like to be in the moment, but I do want to fast forward to June so we can kind of see what we're dealing with here. So this is all, like you said, man, it's OKC's world right now. They do have to close out the Timberwolves, so it's not over yet. But if they close them out and they get to the NBA Finals, they have a good shot at either Indiana or New York for sure. So it makes for an interesting conversation, and the anticipation is unlike any other, especially from a Bucks fan perspective, because you want to kind of see how this plays out, and then who's ever receiving Giannis in this if it goes through.
And just as we're talking about the OKC Thunder and the Timberwolves, Danny, in the Eastern Conference, you now have a 2-1 series lead for the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference against the New York Knicks, and where Karl Anthony Towns decided to step up and just, man, showed that he is officially in the Eastern Conference Finals, man. The fourth quarter by Karl Anthony Towns saved the New York Knicks. Scored 20 points in that quarter. And what I saw in that quarter was really the last effort by the Knicks to really make this a series. Big game tonight in Indiana. And Karl Anthony Towns did this while Jalen Brunson had foul trouble and was sitting on the bench. I don't know, Danny. I just think that Tibbs' rotation, he did play Delon Wright and Landry Shamet. Played them 13 minutes and 11 minutes respectively. And I think that probably showed him something, though, man. I mean, like, you can go to your bench and get, like, some minutes out of them. Get something, man. You're not going to the bench at all? You're just going too deep in the bench? With a Pacers team who loves to run, you got a long series ahead of you. Give these cats a rest. So I'm wondering how Tibbs is going to coach tonight. And I believe, with Delon Wright and Shamet playing, that was more so the result of Brunson and others being in foul trouble. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with no foul trouble in this game. So 106-100, the Knicks prevail. On the Pacers side, you had Siakam, who had 17 points. You had Miles Turner for 19 points. Halliburton, 20 points. It was evenly distributed. off the bench, man, you had TJ McConnell with 12 points. And to me, he was the one who really was pushing them, um, saving the Pacers, if you will. So this is going to be a very interesting game tonight. I think we may see this series go back to New York tied. What say you, Danny, about these Knicks Pacers?
Jason, every game has been good, man. That fourth quarter in all of these games, it went down to the end. Few plays here and there, cost either team the victory. Uh, the Pacers had a great opportunity, man, for a sweep, and for them to let that go at home like that was tough for them. And I'm curious how they bounce back tonight. And Neesmith may not play. I know he's a game time decision. So that'll factor into this because he's been playing a lot of the defense on Brunson in this series. This game here, Indiana has to get. And if they let the Knicks win this one, I think the Pacers are in trouble. Because, like you said, they're going back to New York. So you cannot lose two on your home floor like New York did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If from a momentum standpoint and a confidence standpoint, you can't do it. So I'm very curious to see how they come out tonight. Siakam had that big game too, but like you said, he had 17 his last game. They need a big game out of him again. We'll see what happens. But technically speaking, New York could technically speaking, New York could be up 3-0 as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
They blew two games at home, and to get this one to come back. And one thing I'll tell you, man, there's no lead safe in these playoffs. Like, man, as soon as you think a team has it, they fall apart and lose. So I'm looking forward to this game as well tonight, and we'll see how it ends up. If it's going back 2-2 or 3-1, Indiana into New York.
And Danny, one thing to watch out here, both of these teams, all these teams in both conference finals have been playing every other day for quite some time. And so I think the Pacers had a longer break than the Knicks did. Pacers have been playing more bodies off the bench than the Knicks have. And I think one thing to be mindful of is in this next game or two, just how much the Knicks can hang on here.
Yep.
If Tibbs doesn't go, I think 2, 3, it's not even 2, 3 deep at least. I think you'll definitely see some wear and tear here on the Knicks part here. I believe the Knicks are going to win tonight. Game 5 is just going to be solely up in the air, and I think OKC is going to close it out tomorrow in OKC. And now, Danny, running into Formula One, and where Formula One was in Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. And let me just say, Danny, last week I said I was not going to watch this race.
Yep.
I ended up watching this race, Danny. I watched this race because I was intrigued by one of the rule changes and where each team had to stop. Each driver had to stop at least 2 times. The rule has been there has to be a pit stop, or a driver has to do one pit stop, at least one pit stop in a race. Otherwise, there'll be some penalties. To make Monaco more intriguing, to make it more watchable, they added the rule that 2 stops are required. Let me just say, this was a disaster. It was intriguing to start off with, but to watch teams really purposely go slow to back other drivers up, and we're talking about back them up at least a few minutes, even in some cases a lap or 2
or 3.
Yeah, man, this was terrible. And Monaco is my least favorite race. I will not be watching next year. And I had to look up again contractually where's Formula One with Monaco, and unfortunately, I'm gonna say unfortunately, the Monaco race is going until 2031. A contract was signed last year. The end of the initial contract is set to expire was set to expire the end of this year. But last year they signed another contract that's going to extend this thing out to 2031. Please get rid of this Monaco race. I know what Monaco has been 50, 55 years. There's been races there. The drivers can't stand this race. Even so, I mean, I think Alex Albon took George Russell out to lunch or dinner or something like that because he wanted to apologize for backing him up. This is a terrible race. Last week, Danny, I can't remember what week it was in our show, but I mentioned there's going to be a new circuit. I want to say it's in Madrid. New track, new circuit, the whole nine. They don't know where they're going to fit it in on a regular basis in the schedule. I know it's going to be in there next year. Listen, I'm all for that new circuit instead of this Monaco circuit. This was terrible. And just as I say that, man, gotta give congratulations to Lando Norris, who won the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, his hometown, comes up second. You will not see me talk about Monaco in this fashion because I would not be watching the Monaco race in this fashion. What say you, Danny?
Yeah, congratulations again to McLaren getting 1 and 3 this week. Piastri third, and Sir Lewis Hamilton took fifth as well in this, so he got into the top 5. Antonelli was one of those victims of this race. He finished 3 laps behind. It was a tough go as far as this race was concerned, and definitely not like the previous races. So looking forward to the next race. I believe it's the Spanish Grand Prix that's upcoming. So we won't spend too much time on this, but yeah, shout out to McLaren again, just racking up those points and taking care of business again this week.
And to that point, Danny, this was a huge weekend for motorsports. You had the Indy 500 happening this weekend as well, and I think Formula One needs to be careful here. I can see possibly eyeballs on anytime that the Monaco race happens. If there's if there's an Indy 500 race or something like that, I can see eyeballs possibly going over to the other sport instead of being focused and fixated on the Monaco or the Formula One race, wherever it is. So I think Formula One needs to be careful here. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.